This was identified by this fellow called Maze Moore on X. And he's a great account to follow, a great person on our side. And he identified this. So there were two things that happened. Kamala gave an actual answer, and then they edited it out. And he gives us some background on where this came from. So the original answer from Kamala aired on Sunday. She was talking about Israel, babbling all over herself as per usual, got crushed in Sunday's release. By last night's broadcast, CBS had replaced the word salad with something that she said earlier. And then that's what they broadcast and uploaded on YouTube. So the original answer they aired, and he found it and watched how they edited it and saying, yeah, isn't that lying? Yeah, it definitely is lying. It's misinformation, disinformation. It's not a real answer. Something like out of 1984. So yeah, here you go. Jim Hall says, yeah, just look at the main video. Yep, it was edited, and they broadcasted the edited interview last night as well, right? A lot of people saying, oh my gosh. So let's parse through this, see if we can keep this from getting a strike. But here was Kamala, who was trying to answer about Israel.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of.
All right, so we're off to a pretty bad start there. Kind of bumbling around. Israel, number of movements that we prompted. Let's carry on.
Many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that.
Okay, so that was the thing, right? So it's about 10 seconds, maybe, of an answer. So then they're going to do it again. That was 27 seconds to get through that. Here's the last 38 seconds of this clip.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
All right. Looks like they just cut out that bumble, right? So the first part of that, let's listen to that again.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Bill.
So they cut out about, 5-10 seconds of just bumbling words and then tightened her answer up so that she didn't sound like a moron. So that is what 60 Minutes does, right? Trump did not go on 60 Minutes because of what they did last time when they lied about the Hunter Biden laptop and said that it was Russian disinformation, misinformation, no evidence. And now they're covering up for their floundering, incompetent candidate who can't answer questions about pretty important things. Trump called this out. He said, I've never seen this before, but the producers of 60 Minutes sliced and diced. They cut and pasted Lion Kamala's answers to questions, which were virtually incoherent, over and over again. Some by as many as 4 times in a single sentence or thought, all in an effort, possibly illegal as part of the, quote, news division, which must be licensed to make her look, quote, more presidential or at least better. It may also be a major campaign finance violation. This is a stain on the reputation of 60 Minutes that is not recoverable. It will always remain with this once storied brand. I have never heard of such a thing being done in, quote, news. It is the very definition of fake news. The public is owed a major and immediate apology. This is an open and shut case and must be investigated starting today. Yeah, is this an in-kind contribution? Did they cut a campaign commercial for her and then publish it? Interesting. I wonder if Tish James will investigate this for fraud and indict somebody there and take away their buildings, take away CBS's or 60 Minutes, take away their building for defrauding the public and trying to interfere in an election, promising the news and then delivering Kamala propaganda. So she's doing a terrible job. Obviously, they're trying to figure out what to do about it. They have now released apparently a new ad, or at least an internet promo that looks like this from Trump War Room. They call it a new ad. And you're going to see this is really clever from the Trump team.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Right on, Mr. President. That's all you need. 20 seconds right there. All you need. Thank you, Kamala. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Boom. Nailed it. Just have to use her own words. She's responsible for a lot of our current environment. And now people are figuring it out. So she's making the rounds, trying to come off as a folksy individual. She showed up with Stephen Colbert, and he is very excited to have a beer with her. And this might be the first time she's ever drinking anything out of an aluminum can. But here is this very organic interaction between these two lunatic Democrats.
The old saws is they just want somebody they can have a beer with. So would you like to have a beer with me so I can tell people what that's like? Okay.
Yeah, going to be so good to have a beer together, Kamala and Stephen.
Now we asked ahead of time because I can't just be giving a drink to the Vice President of the United States without asking. You asked for
Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Kamala's ever drinking that before? Ever?
I'm just curious.
Okay, the last time I had beer was at a baseball game with Doug.
Okay, cheers. There you go.
All right, so here we go. Let's take a big sip of that, Kamala.
Oh.
I think she just slurped the foam off. Is that it?
Ooh. Tastes like
Yeah, get it? Man, that hit hard. Did it, Kamala?
the beautiful city of Milwaukee,
The
Wisconsin.
champagne beers.
There you go.
Good job. She read it from the label. That's
So
great.
one of the old.
All right. Okay. There you go. Kamala's slurping the foam off the top of a beer. Just the tip. Just the tip of the beer. That's exactly right. Just the tip, 24/7 live. Amazing. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little slurpy slurp there from Kamala. All right. I guess now a bunch of people from Wisconsin who love the champagne of beers are all going to be piling over each other to go vote for Kamala. So nice job there. Now, they're not happy with Kamala's performance in a lot of these exchanges. In fact, even CNN and their people were reaming Kamala over this. How can she sit there and say that Joe Biden is amazing and that nothing would change? That's like exactly the opposite of what she should be saying. And CNN is calling her out on it.
Get to what Priscilla was talking about, in that one of the questions that Kamala Harris was asked was about how she differentiates herself. Is there any daylight effectively between what she would do and what the Biden-Harris administration did? Let's watch part of the answer.
We're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I
your parents
lead.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
No.
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Nothing. Border, wars,
Molly,
inflation.
what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews. And this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently. And she's not very specific in laying that out. And
so
she can't
why don't we
point
just have
to a
Joe
decision
then?
she would have made differently, which in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
It's a delicate dance because it's not as if she's coming in. It's not as if she just fell out of a coconut tree. She's been part of this administration as the vice president for 4 years now. She did later talk about the fact that she would put a Republican in her cabinet, which she first told me over the summer. And then she said, oh, that's something that's different. She's added it later.
Okay. Liz Cheney would come in and be a part of her cabinet. She's the same as Joe. Kamala is Biden. Biden is Kamala. Kamala is terrible. And even CNN can't hide it. So they're like, okay, maybe she should have done something about this. Now, good news from Arizona. Our friend Harmeet Dillon is coming out to Arizona to pick up the reins on election litigation. She said, honored to serve. I've already spoken with people here in Arizona, heading there shortly after some other duties in another part of the country. We'll be here in Arizona. Looking forward to working with the Arizona colleagues. Trump campaign announcing a new Arizona election integrity team working with Harmeet Dillon. And they do good work. Obviously, we've read through many of their filings here, and we're excited to have her join in the team. And I know this has come up here, some people asking what's going on in Arizona. And so glad to share this update and looking forward to having them here. Now, Trump was also out and about, and he's doing some interviews. He showed up with these guys and was having a conversation about Joe Biden where he just railed on him for falling asleep at the beach.
Over the last week, I have to, when we talk about funny or sad, I think it's more sad than funny. Yeah. He has one ability I don't have. Yeah. He sleeps. Yeah. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it. They're meant, they're meant for children. Yeah. Young people and old people to lift. Yeah. They're aluminum, hollowed aluminum. Yeah. They weigh very little and he can't lift. And somebody convinced him he looks good in a bathing suit. And when you're 82, typically bathing suits aren't going to make you look great. Right, you're not going to be enhanced. Yeah. All right. It's just one of those things. I can't be sure about that, but typically, you know,
depends what he's packing. He could.
I don't know what the hell he's packing, but I don't want to, and I don't want to know either. I don't know, but he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera. He can lie down on one of those things. Yeah. And in minutes, he's stone cold out.
How does he do
and
it?
He's got cameras because he's the president, so they have cameras on him. Yeah. And then they show him sleeping on the beach. Yeah. You'll never see me sleeping in front of camera.
How do we?
Yeah, that's a good call. When you're the president, probably not ideal to be sleeping on the beach when your country has portions of it underwater where the beach came to them. Fun stuff there. Democrats absolutely freaked out. And Trump feels like he's just having a good old day, good old time, hanging out, campaigning, looking like he's feeling solid. It's good news.